A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. I'm Ravi Gamage.
And I'm Bitmini De Silva. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Starting off with our lead story tonight, a total of 7 opposition MPs representing the Committee on Public Enterprises or COPE have stepped down. The wave of resignations come after the appointment of Rohitha Abegunawardena as the new COPE chairman.
Multiple opposition MPs representing the Committee on Public Enterprises or COPE have stepped down. The MPs who stepped down today are Sirasa Sekara, Professor Charita Herath, SM Marika, Gamini Valeboda, Hesha Vidanage and Shanakyan Rasamanikam. The MPs addressed the media to elaborate on their decisions.
කෝප් කමිටුවේ සභාපතිවරයා පද පහුගිය සතියේ කෝප් කමිටුවට පත් වෙන්න පැයකට කලින් මට
The current COPE chair attempted to assault me inside the office of the Prime Minister last week, less than an hour before he was made the COPE chairman. We have exposed many linked to the Rajapaksas who have looted from the public. If they can try to assault us for speaking up in Parliament, they are also capable of causing an accident aimed at us for what we have to say inside COPE. Personally, these individuals face allegations. If we were to conduct audits under such individuals, we would not be able to take to the streets in the future. He faced financial allegations. I do not think he was acquitted and released. Allegations were withdrawn. As MPs, it is impossible for us to operate with this person in the chair. This is where financial malpractice is exposed. However, if we remain in it when it has lost credibility, I do not think that we would be representing the public there. This must be rectified. If not, COPE, which attracted interest from the public, would become a joke. The President and the government are responsible for this.
Yesterday, Samagi Janabalawege parliamentarian Eran Wickramaratne resigned from his position in COPE with immediate effect. COPE is made up of a membership of 30 MPs. Eran Wickramaratne, Sirasa Sekara, Professor Charita Herath, SM Marika, Gamini Valeboda, Hesha Vidanage, Nalin Bandara and Shanakyan Rasamanikam have already stepped down from COPE. The remaining membership of COPE consists of Chairman Rohitha Abegunawardena, Jagat Kumara, Janaka Vakumbura, Lohan Ratwata, Indi Kanarudda, Shanta Bandara, Mahindananda Alutkamage, Duminda Disanayaka, Sumit Udukumbura, Sanjeev Edirimana, Sudarshana Denipitiya, Premnath C. Dolavatta, Upul Mahendra Rajapaksa, M. Rameswaram, Rajaka Vikramasinghe, Madhura Vidanage, Professor Ranjit Bandara, Anurakumar Disanayaka, Rauf Hakim, Dilan Pereira and Nima Lansa.
Wins the election.
The Sri Lankan cabinet has given its approval for the drafting of laws related to a constitutional amendment aimed at reforming the parliamentary election system. According to the cabinet paper presented by the Minister of Justice, Dr. Wijedas Rajapaksha, the proposed amendment aims to introduce a new voting system where 225 members of parliament will be appointed through a combination of proportional representation and electorate allocation. According to constitutional mandates, this year marks the imperative for the presidential election. The president also holds the prerogative to dissolve parliament and call for a general election. A current contention suggests that the president, should the need arise, could dissolve parliament through the endorsement of 113 members. At the recent cabinet session, deliberations centered on two pivotal electoral considerations. The latest edition of the Daily Mirror reported that the president had instructed the cabinet to prioritize preparations for the impending presidential election during yesterday's meeting. Citing sources, the newspaper reported that the president has stated that according to the country's constitution, the presidential election should take place first and arrangements will be made accordingly. When questioned on the matter today, Minister Mahinda Amaraweera provided the following insight.
ජනාධිපතිවරණය තියනවා කියලා ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියලා තියෙනවා. ඊයේ කිව්වද කැබිනට්? නෑ ඉතින් අපිට කැබිනට් එකේ කියන ඒවා කියන්න බැහැනේ. ඉතින් කැබිනට් එක කියන්නේ රහස්නේ.
During discussions surrounding the presidential election, Justice Minister, President's Counsel Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa has put forth a proposal to amend the system for electing members of parliament. Despite the proposed alterations, the total number of members of parliament will remain unchanged. Out of the 225 MPs, 160 will continue to be elected by voters within their respective constituencies. The remaining 65 MPs will be elected through proportional voting at both the national and provincial levels. Yesterday, the cabinet reached a consensus to seek the expertise of legal drafters. Their task is to formulate the necessary legislation, incorporating the recommendations put forth by the committee chaired by the Prime Minister. Justice Minister Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa elaborated on the need for constitutional amendments.
I have produced my proposal to the cabinet and I hope to produce it to this house. The confusion that marred the existing system must be solved. For that we need to make certain constitutional amendments. I hope to bring forth a resolution for the need of the Senate.
Pafrel says this is likely another attempt to delay the elections.
It took over 2 years to amend the local government electoral system and to conclude the delimitation process. The provincial council elections have not taken place for over 5 years. By way of electoral amendments, legislations are being passed. However, political groups could not agree with the delimitations. Against such a backdrop, if not possible to amend the electoral system, pass legislation and conclude the delimitation, it would result in the delay in elections, or else the parliamentary elections would encounter a natural death.
This is the position of the Institute for Democratic Reforms and Electoral Studies.
The rulers of this country have decided to bring amendments to the electoral system at a time when we need to prepare for elections. We request that the President and the Prime Minister make way for the presidential election in 2024 and parliamentary election in 2025. We are amazed by this cabinet decision. The executive president is using the cabinet.
The Frontline Socialist Party says the government is engaged in a conspiracy to do away with elections.
The election system with regard to the parliamentary election is mentioned in the constitution. This is a constitutional amendment. You need to have a 2/3 majority as well as a referendum. These take time. In addition to that, the regulations need changes. There are changes related to the votes as well. The delimitation process must take place. The government is trying to use these means of not holding elections. The final objective of this cabinet decision is such. The government is conspiring not to hold the elections.
The Committee on Parliamentary Business has decided that the no-confidence motion against the Speaker will continue until Thursday, the 21st of March. A vote on the no-confidence motion will take place at 4:30 p.m. on that day. It was Opposition MP Lakshman Kiriyalla who moved the motion of no confidence against the Speaker in Parliament.
The primary issue is that after the Speaker was appointed, he did not part himself from political affiliations. Today, he is the chairman of the Valigama Development Committee. When he takes a seat, he looked at all matters with a political perspective. Sectorial oversight committees were not appointed for 3 years, and that decision was politically motivated. If an opposition MP were made chair of the Committee on Public Finance, we would have warned that the economy would collapse 2 years in advance. The ruling party MP concealed all matters from this House. The main person linked to the collapse of this economy is the Speaker. COPE has become a joke. These are very low-level actions. You are a stooge of the executive. Supreme Court justices directed for the local government elections to be held. Then one MP stands up here and says that the Supreme Court ruling violated his privileges. What did the Speaker do then? Those who filed the action were summoned before the Committee on Privileges. The Constitutional Council needs the vote of 5 members. However, on that day, there weren't 5 votes. Can a love letter change the decision of a commission? The Speaker had written a love letter to the President. It is embarrassing for us when these things happen in this Parliament. We have been in Parliament for over 30 years and we have never seen this kind of things happen. How did 4 votes turn to 5? We would like to know that. He too is ashamed to stand up. When the Speaker delivers rulings, he never looks at us. He looks at the ruling faction. The government purposely ignored the Supreme Court recommended amendments. At the committee stages, those recommendations were purposely left out. That is what happened.
ක්‍රියාත්මක කෙරුවේ නැහැ. කාර්ක සභා අවස්ථාවේදී ඒවා හිතාමතා ඇතුළත් කෙරුවේ නැහැ. ඒකයි මුඩේ.
Anybody who is capable of reading will know you don't need legal acumen. You don't need legal expertise. If you are able to read, if you are literate, you know what it says. I am saddened by the fact that I have to say this in this House, questioning the very literacy of the Speaker. If he cannot read this and understand what it says, then is he capable of chairing proceedings in this House, occupying the office of Speaker? That is why we have lost confidence in the Speaker. This goes without saying. You don't have to pass a motion of no confidence. Surely the country knows that he cannot be Speaker if he can't read that. That is what you are going to prove to the country, that you are also not literate. You did this the last time there was a no confidence motion brought against the Minister of Health. Ganged up together and defeated that bill. You ganged up together and defeated that motion of no confidence of Minister of Health. Where is he today? Where is he today? You had confidence in him? All of you together gloated that you have defeated the no confidence motion on him. Where is the Minister of Health today? Where is Honorable Kehli Rambukwela today? This is what will happen to the Speaker too. And you will be collaborators. Admit your mistake. You don't have to be a legal expert to know what you have done. Admit your mistake, tender your resignation, and thereby guard your honor.
There are 9 allegations raised with regard to the online safety bill mentioned in this no confidence motion. All these allegations are false. There is no base for these allegations. They must have been misled. The Constitution was in fact violated by the 2 members in the Constitutional Council. They should face the motion of no confidence. They cannot abstain from the vote. They can oppose the vote. There is no in between. It is either for or against. We admitted that there was a minor shortcoming. 4 lines were omitted. Steps have been taken to address those issues. Therefore, we can utilize the time we have in Parliament for more worthwhile matters. Let us use that time for something more valuable. Without wasting more time, let's end this today.
ඒ වටිනා වැඩක් අපි කරමු. මේ වෙනුවෙන් තවත් කාලයක් ගන්න නැතුව මේක අදින් මෙතනින් ඉවර කරගෙන අවසන් කරන්න ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා.
රැස්වීමේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන් තෘෂ්ණිම්බෝධව ඉඳලා.
The objective of the Constitutional Council is not met. When he sends his opinion on the matter to a third party, the Speaker is the chairman of the Council. The Speaker does not utter a word. And when he gets home, he sends a letter to the President. That entire process is wrong. The Supreme Court delivered a very detained determination with regard to the online safety bill. Those amendments were not implemented. Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa admitted it. Therefore, a great responsibility falls on the Speaker. The Speaker must certify it. The amendments recommended by the Supreme Court must be included in this legislation. If not, why was this legislation sent to the Supreme Court? The Speaker has no such discretion. The Speaker is bound to follow the law. It is because of actions like this that we have lost faith in the Speaker. You cannot appoint the IGP without the seal of the Constitutional Council. There were only 4 votes, not 5. Therefore, it is not a legal appointment. appointment. Against such a backdrop, the Speaker goes home and sends a letter to the President. That process alone is wrong.
කතානායකතුමා ගෙදර ගිහිල්ලා ලියුමක් එවනවා ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ඒ ක්‍රියාදාමය සම්පූර්ණයෙන් වැරදි.
එනිසා මමත් පැහැදිලිව හිතන්නේ මෙතන බරපතල වැරද්ද කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
I strongly believe that the two members in the Constitutional Council who abstained from voting committed a serious wrong. They need to be removed immediately and new appointments be made. The usual process is for the committee with a majority from the ruling faction. That is followed in the UK.
ජනාධිපතිතුමාට බලය දෙනවා ඒක මේ රටේ වෙච්ච දේනේ. පක්ෂපාතී ඡන්දේ නොදී ඉන්නවා කියලා තීන්දුව කරනවා නම් මේක බලන්නටවත් වැඩක්. එතුමා ඒ ව්‍යවස්ථාව වෙනස් කරේ නැත්නම් අද විශ්වාස භංගයක් නෙවෙයි.
If we had not amended the constitution, there will be no motion of no confidence. We told the President that he made a mistake. Why can't those appointed to the Constitutional Council cast their vote? When in school, if we are asked correct or wrong, we would raise our hand for whichever answer. I call for the dissolution of the Constitutional Council. Those members need to be driven away. Let's say that we have been disgraced. We made the mistake by appointing Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is not from our party, as the President. But the Speaker has sent all opposition MPs overseas and not us. We have not been given a single point of order. The most was taken by the other side.
අපිට appoint up order එකක් දීලා නැහැ කතානායක. වැඩියෙන්ම දුන්නේ ඔය පැත්තට.
The Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka proudly presents SOSL Concert, a musical masterpiece conducted by Kiko Kiyobashi with the world premiere of Lalnath De Silva's first cello concert with soloist Dushanti Pereira, One Soups, Light Cavalry Overture and Brahms' First Symphony. 23rd of March 7 p.m. onwards at the Lionel Wendt Theatre. Tickets available now. Electronic media sponsors Yes 101, Legends 966, Newsfirst and TV1.
Effective immediately, 20 specialized police teams have been deployed to address the menace posed by 20 organized crime gangs. This operation is being conducted in parallel with Operation Yuktiya. The Inspector General of Police emphasized that if the initial targets are not met within a month, the operation will be scaled up further. Earlier today, the 20 specialized police teams assigned to combat 20 criminal gangs convened with Inspector General of Police at the Police Field Force headquarters. These teams will commence operations in the southern and western provinces as part of the ongoing Operation Yuktiya. Each 9-member team comprises a crime OIC, 4 intelligence officers and 2 special task force members. Additionally, a dedicated jeep has been allocated to facilitate each team.
Effective today, Sri Lanka Police and the Special Task Force will pursue 20 identified organized crime syndicates. We hope that within a month we can end the menace posted by these criminal gangs. If these gangs are not silenced within a month, the number of personnel will increase to completely wipe out the drug trade and underworld. Sri Lanka Police will support the efforts of these officers in carrying out their duties.
The police chief also noted that underworld gangs cannot be allowed to decide the fate of drug peddlers.
Since January 2023 to date, a total of 99 events linked to organized criminal gangs have taken place in the country. 56 people were killed in these events, while another 37 were seriously injured. Most of these individuals are linked to the drug trade. They should be prosecuted and penalized by the courts. And the underworld cannot be allowed to decide their fate. The most unfortunate events took place a week ago in the Alpitia police jurisdiction. 3 people who were not even remotely linked to drugs were killed in these 2 incidents. Operation Yuktiya is implemented to protect the fundamental rights of the unarmed innocents in the country.
In the past 24 hours, a total of 996 suspects were apprehended during ongoing police operations that concluded at 12:30 a.m. today. Notably, 935 of these arrests are related to drug offences.
We find ourselves grappling with an intense heat wave, a phenomenon that seems to emanate not only from the relentless sun, but also from the heated political climate. As temperatures soar, both school children and outdoor labourers bear the brunt of this scorching weather. What is the reason for this? Newsfirst takes a look.
Climate change plays a major role in the prevailing weather. Global warming is a result of our own actions. It is because of things like unnecessary burning of fuel that global warming has increased more and more. Global warming has also triggered the El Nino effect since the end of last year. Extreme heat can also be caused due to the El Nino effect. Before 2023, 2016 was recorded as the hottest year. During that year, along with the extreme heat, the El Nino effect was also triggered. Before 2023, we were saying that 2016 was the hottest year. However, the El Nino effect has taken place once again last year. Along with global warming, 2023 has become the hottest year so far, with the influence of that El Nino effect. January has been recorded as the hottest month of this year so far. So this situation is not the best because March and April are usually the hottest months in Sri Lanka at this time. However, the temperature increasing further won't do us any good. Therefore, it is essential to be very careful, especially these days. It is better to cover up and wear long sleeves when we go out, and it is better to limit the time spent outside as the heat could directly affect our bodily functions.
The Met Department said that the high temperature will prevail in northwestern, north central, eastern, western provinces and the Munaragala, Mana, Ratnapura and Vaunia districts. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board says that the number of customer complaints received regarding the unavailability of water has increased by 30% and water consumption has increased by 20% these days. Minister of Power and Energy said that even though hydropower production on a normal day is maintained at 30%, it has been reduced to 20% these days. Meanwhile, a week of controlling forest fires has been announced from the 25th to the 31st in order to raise public awareness regarding forest fires.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa questioned the provision of 200 liquor licenses in Parliament.
We are told that permission will be given for 200 wine shops and 15 of them have already been awarded. In addition, we are told that 20 million rupees is being extorted from those licenses. Further, we are told that 6 liquor production licenses have been awarded. It is said that Excise Commissioner General Gunasiri has been appointed for this purpose. Is that an attempt to collect funds for the election?
මේක මං අහන්න කැමති මේ ඡන්දෙට සල්ලි එකතු කරන්න හදනවද?
මේ ආකාරයට රජයේ නිලධාරීන් සම්බන්ධයෙන්
It is unfair to make allegations against government officials without gathering the facts. The government has the power to make the appointments. If there is any internal malpractice or corruption, we can probe the matter. If he assumes that he will reverse the decision taken by this government during his government, the opposition leader is still daydreaming.
යනවා කියලා විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා තාම දවල් හීන තමයි දකින්නේ.
ඔබගේ දවල් හීනේ ළඟදීම සැබෑ වෙනවා. බයවෙන්න එපා බලන් ඉන්න. ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. දෙන හැම හොර බලපත්‍රයක්ම ආපහු ගන්නවා. ඒ නිලධාරීන්ට විරුද්ධව සියලුම විනය කටයුතු ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. මම නැවතත් කියනවා.
Newsfirst with the people.
Still in local news, Sri Lanka is to import 42 million more eggs from India to meet the festive season demand.
Sri Lanka's Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to import eggs until the 30th of April 2024 in order to maintain the prices of eggs in the local market. The Department of Government Information said that 18 million eggs have been imported thus far. And authorities have calculated that the requirement for the festive season would be an additional 42 million eggs. It added that the Department of Animal Production and Health had already called for quotes from the recommended Indian companies to import eggs to the country.
Now, the Cabinet granted approval to import 42 million eggs to the country to meet the demands of the upcoming festive season. Now, with this approval, what impact does it make to the local market? And what does this mean to the local businessmen of the country? Let's find out.
රස්කල දාලා තියෙනවා. ආයෙ මේක තව පාරක් චෙක් කරන්න ඕන. මීටර 45 44ට විකුණනවා.
Eggs are being sold for around 45 to 44 rupees. We get them for 42 to 41 rupees. We are unable to sell the local eggs we have right now. We get a lot of eggs from poultry farmers. We dispose many eggs because of the heat. More than 50 eggs are thrown away on a daily basis. We are even unable to sell them for a price of 35 rupees. We invested on this, so we need to find our returns.
Sri Lanka has warned its fisher folk against venturing into the Arabian Sea. The Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources has warned Sri Lankan fisherfolk against venturing into the Arabian Sea. This warning comes in light of reports of armed Somali pirates hijacking vessels in the Arabian Sea. The Sri Lankan Navy has informed that the international sea area 700 nautical miles east of the Somali Sea region is at a high risk level for piracy. Taking this situation into account, the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources advises multi-day fishing vessels to operate east of the Arabian Sea, as far away from the currently designated high-risk zone as possible. Somali pirates are back on the attack, with piracy around the Horn of Africa rising sharply in recent months and adding to concerns for shipping vessels, government forces and private security already locked in a battle in the Red Sea with Houthi rebels. The shipping region from the coast of the Horn of Africa to the coast of India is considered a high-risk zone. Global piracy costs the world economy tens of billions of dollars annually. Over the weekend, Indian naval forces, including special commandos, seized a cargo vessel that had been hijacked by Somali pirates and rescued 17 crew members. In a post on the social media platform X on Saturday, the Navy said that all 35 pirates on board the Maltese-flagged bulk cargo vessel MV Ruan had surrendered, and the ship had been checked for the presence of illegal arms, ammunition and contraband. The MV Ruan was hijacked late last year. The hijacking of the Ruan in December was the first successful takeover of a vessel involving Somali pirates since 2017, when a crackdown by international navies stopped a rash of seizures in the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean.
India and Sri Lanka have failed to reach an agreement on fee payments for RuPay transactions.
Indian media reported that India and Sri Lanka have failed to reach an agreement for RuPay transactions due to the inability of Indian and Sri Lankan banks to come to an agreement on fee payments for transactions using the RuPay cards. The Indian government proposed to scale up digital payment connectivity with Sri Lanka by introducing mutually acceptable RuPay card services. However, talks on introduction of RuPay cards in Sri Lanka are facing some hurdles over the issue of commissions that banks charge for facilitating digital transaction using a branded payment system. The report added, quoting the sources, that this is expected to be resolved soon, paving the way for Sri Lanka to become the third country after Bhutan and Mauritius to allow both UPI and RuPay transactions. The World Bank has recognized Sri Lanka's 1990 Sirasa ambulance service for strengthening Sri Lanka's primary healthcare system and giving a second chance at life to the millions who are critically injured. Martin Racer, the Vice President for the South Asia region of the World Bank Group, recognizing the 1990 Sirasa, noted that the ambulance service has tapped into this potential by leading digital innovation in health and emergency services. Its trademark speed and efficiency come from digital integration into its processes and operations, from using specific algorithms to identify the fastest ambulance that can be deployed to an emergency, to tracking callers' locations through an app, to digitally tracking fuel levels in its vehicles. The World Bank says Siras's success is an example of how technology can help revolutionize service delivery in developing countries. Since its launch in 2016, 1.8 million Sri Lankan citizens in distress have dialed 1990, and the Sirasa ambulance has rushed them to the nearest hospital or primary care facility within 12 minutes of their call, one of the fastest response rates in the world for an ambulance service. In these 7 years, Sirasa has saved countless lives, providing citizens the highest level of pre-hospital care, reducing complications caused by delayed care, and enabling them to get back into the workforce in record time, making a positive contribution to the country's economy.
The first day of the 8th International Cooperation Forum, or ICF, of the European Safety Agency got underway in Colombo today.
The International Cooperation Forum is an international platform for aviation authorities and regional organizations interested in regional cooperation and the European Safety Agency system. The 8th ICF, hosted by Sri Lanka, will cover a broad portfolio of topics such as regulating technical innovation and emerging risks, meeting environmental requirements, and upholding public trust in aviation safety.
We identified already some new aviation challenges, new safety risks. Cybersecurity was coming. We had already identified in Montenegro the need to intensify the cooperation among ourselves, among partners, in order to continue to offer to the citizens, the passengers, the best level of services. I'm a firm believer in the power of partnership and cooperation, turning global objectives into local actions, all while respecting the unique needs and challenges of each of our regions.
Civil aviation for this small island nation plays a significant role to ensure economic prosperity of its citizens. Sri Lanka's association with European Union Safety Agency goes as far back as the year 2004. The currently operational EU South Asian Aviation Partnership Project 2, Sri Lanka was privileged to be selected as the host of the project office. The Sri Lanka and the South Asian region have been beneficiaries of many programs run by the present project.
The forum will take place for 3 days with the participation of over 100 foreign and local civil aviation delegates from the European Union, Asia Pacific and other parts of the world. Prosecutors are seeking death sentence for mastermind of Vietnam's largest financial scam. Vietnamese prosecutors call for a death sentence for Trong Lan, the mastermind of the country's largest financial fraud case on record. Lan, chairwoman of real estate developer Van Thien Phat Holdings Group, is facing a trial in Ho Chi Minh City on accusations of leading a scam of more than $12 billion, or around 3% of the country's gross domestic product. Lan and her accomplices are accused of siphoning off 16.5 billion Singapore dollars from Saigon Joint Stock Commercial Bank, which Lan effectively controlled through dozens of proxies. From early 2018 through October 2022, when SCB was bailed out by the state after a run on its deposits, Lan appropriated large sums by arranging unlawful loans to shell companies.
Sri Lankan all-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga, who had just announced a return to Test cricket, was found guilty of a code of conduct breach.
Sri Lanka all-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga has been suspended for the 2-test series against Bangladesh shortly after announcing his decision to return to Test cricket, having retired from the format last year. During the third ODI in the recently concluded series against Bangladesh, Hasaranga was found guilty of breaching Article 2.8 of the ICC Code of Conduct for players and player support personnel, which relates to showing dissent at an umpire's decision during an international match. The incident occurred in the 37th over of the game when Hasaranga snatched his cap from one of the umpires and ridiculed the umpiring in the match. Bangladesh took the series 2-1 after winning the contest by 4 wickets.
Also winning handsomely. What a wonderful display, especially from Rishad Hussain, who was a player of the match. Now what is he trying to do here? Or just having some fun. It's a team.
Slim Kantar People's Awards got underway this evening.
Shakti TV awarded the Tamil TV Channel of the Year at the Slim Kantar People's Awards.
Well, that's a look at primetime news for tonight. I'm Ravi Gamage.
And I'm Bismini De Silva.
Good night.